Gyro is the terrifying in-game Hunter x Hunter villain that most people don't even know exists, and he all but guarantees that Gon will return to the story, so let's talk about it. So first of all, who is Gyro? And if you've only ever seen the Hunter x Hunter anime adaptation, you may recall him as getting some kind of random backstory amidst the Chimera Ant arc. But in the manga, it actually goes a bit further than that, which gives us a glimpse into Tagashi's plans for this character. But let me just quickly refresh you on what we know about this man. So Gyro has a tragic backstory. We know that he was born into a construction camp to an alcoholic and abusive father that essentially treated him like a slave. We're told that Gyro learned how to do construction work before he ever learned how to speak because that's how little his father ever actually addressed him or respected him. But Gyro, not really knowing any better and being in this psychologically and physically abusive relationship, just looked at his father as the only one who truly did love him. And the main reason Gyro felt this way is because one of his earliest memories was being horribly sick and his father taking care of him all night long. So because of that, Gyro felt as if his father was the only one who truly did care about him, and thus he respected him and his wishes and essentially was a slave for him. His father told him the one rule he always needed to follow was to not make trouble for anyone else. So Gyro simply always did what he was told. But Gyro's breaking point came one day when he was getting bullied, as he always did, and they told him his father didn't even really care about him either. And in fact, it wasn't his father who took care of him when he was a kid. It was some random neighbor lady who just was worried about Gyro since his father was ignoring him. He was just off getting drunk somewhere. And Gyro can't believe this, and he's getting like literally beat on as this is happening, and he sees his father. And his father looks at him, saw the whole situation, and just turns around and walks the other way. And it's in that moment that Gyro knew it was true and also realized that no one cared about him. The universe doesn't give a damn about me. It's at this point that the only conclusion Gyro can come to is that he must not be human, and that's why he's treated this way. And it's at this point that he snaps. Gyro got up, grabbed a nearby hammer, took out his father, and then left this commune forever. And only 9 years after that moment, he founded the NGL, which, if you recall, is an entire country. That is where the Chimera Ant arc took place. In 9 years, he established an entire nation and became its king, and not only became its sovereign in terms of its like government and bureaucracy, but was also the shadow king. He was also the black market king. Get you a man that can do both. And why did Gyro do this? What possesses a man to go out there and establish an entire nation and become a monarch? Well, it's quite simple. He wants to spread evil throughout the whole world. Because again, Gyro doesn't view himself as human. So he views his purpose as to destroy humanity, to spread evil as far as he possibly can. And part of doing that was creating this nation and then creating drugs that their specific purpose was to ruin people's lives. This D2 drug was kind of one of the minor plot lines going through the Chimera Ant arc, because that's what was going on in the NGL before the ants came through and, ruined everything. And part of the reason this is so terrifying is because he was capable of doing that in only a span of 9 years after leaving that construction commune, which means he's not just some mustache twirling evildoer that wants to burn the world down. He's also incredibly smart and charismatic, because you have to be to become a king and establish an entire nation in that time. But not only that, we know that the previous NGL members, which were humans before being turned into Chimera ants, actually love and respected Gyro, which means he's amongst this type of company here, people that are extremely powerful and sinister, but are able to put on a mask and fool the masses. Except unlike a Periston or a Cyrenic, in Gyro's case, we have hard statements from the narrator classifying this man's evil. His feelings of malevolence and pure determination were second to none. Also, of all of the countless Chimera ants that were born, because Gyro was killed by the Chimera ants when they came into the NGL, but he became a Chimera ant, much like many of the rest of them did. And out of all of them, out of all of the countless soldiers, he was the only one who retained his power of independent will and rejected the Queen's command entirely. And he left. Because of that, he left of his own free will. That is why he was not present in the actual Chimera Ant arc. And yes, some of the ants eventually did regain their memories and regain their free will, but Gyro was born as an ant that way. He alone stood in that realm. Now you might be saying, okay, all of that was pretty much in the anime, so what was different in the manga and why do you think this guy is going to be an in-game villain? Well, before we even get to the manga only stuff, just the fact that Togashi spent all of this time on Gyro, basically dedicating almost an entire chapter and a large portion of an anime episode describing his backstory when he then has no actual impact on the Chimera Ant arc, is a bit strange, right? It's obviously set up for something in the future. We're basically learning that this is the most evil dude in the verse and that, yeah, he just walked away one day, basically to start his journey anew. He lost his kingdom, he lost his life, but he was reborn as a Chimera Ant and needed to start over from square one. So he leaves to do that. And oh yeah, he's a Chimera Ant now, which means however strong he was previously, he's now got that going for him as well. Okay, but what about the part that wasn't in the anime that sets him up as an in-game villain even more? And that's this scene here. If you'll remember back when Gon and Killua were training to fight against Knuckle and Shoot in preparation for going to deal with the Chimera Ants, Gyro was actually in that very same city that they were training in, and Togashi makes a big to-do about Gyro and Gon not crossing paths, and I quote here, Gon and Gyro didn't end up encountering one another, so Gyro left town and disappeared. Whether this proved to be fortunate or not for both of them, it won't be known until they ultimately meet. And these higher panels are again just talking about Gyro's unique motion here and about how he needs time to set up his next undertaking. So again, this is just setup from Togashi saying that one day Gon and Gyro will meet. Like this is one of Gon's, if not the final of Gon's villains. This is also why Gon will obviously get his nin back at some point and re-enter as the focus of Hunter x Hunter. Togashi just switches between his MCs, which is nothing new. Now, obviously, Togashi's health concerns do play a role here. If he never gets to finish Hunter x Hunter and we never actually get all the way through his envisioned story, then maybe we don't get to see Gon versus Gyro, but obviously that is in the plan. So yeah, this is one of the baddest dudes in the verse, and while we don't have an idea of how strong he is in a combat sense, we certainly know what he is capable of, and that was before he became a Chimera Ant. So this man is an end-game villain. I don't care what anybody says. I'm just hoping Togashi can actually stay healthy enough that we actually get to see some of these things through. And I mean, come on, just look at how Togashi draws this man in every panel that he's in. He is darkness and evil incarnate. But let me know y'all's thoughts on all of this. Do you think we will see Gyro again? Do you think he is being set up as this final baddie or just one in a line of many potential future Gon villains? But before y'all get out of here, I want to give a big shout out to Bagel, who sent in some support and asked me to talk about Gyro. And the one thing I don't think I've covered yet is you asked, do I think he could show up in this arc? And I don't think so. I think there's too many things going on in this arc already. We are also like contained on the Black Whale. Could Gyro be on the ship? I think it's possible, but I don't think that's the direction Togashi is going to go. I do think he's being set up as a Gon villain, and as we know, Gon isn't on the ship. So I think this is just more in-game, more down the line, and again, hopefully we get to see it. But as always, y'all, thank you so much for watching.